Gonna build a mountain from a little hill.
Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is The Lady Designer, and today we are back with another City Zoo episode. So in today's episode, we're going to build a fennec fox habitat. So for the Obaya Zoo fennec fox habitat, if you have seen this video, we basically made a fennec fox paradise with a huge, beautiful habitat for these lovely small little creatures. And as I said during that episode for City Zoo, we are going to do this completely different. Just like we did with the meerkat, which is also a very small habitat in City Zoo, but a huge habitat in Obaya Zoo. I just really do love the contrast that we're doing and the difference in size of their habitat and difference in details. So I just really do enjoy doing this, as I also mentioned in the previous videos. I really love it. So for this habitat, as I mostly do recently, I tried to look up some inspiration on Google. What I mostly just do is type in the animal name I am looking inspiration for, and then the words zoo and exhibit. So for this video, I searched for fennec fox zoo exhibit and see what I can find. I know some people keep asking me, like, how do you find inspiration? Like, it's either just out of my head, like I just start building and just see where I end, or I try to look up some pictures on Google that mostly just helps to get that little glimpse of inspiration. So this is how I do it if you're curious. Now, just like for the meerkat, I was looking for something pretty small that would fit in our City Zoo. So I found some pictures of Taronga Zoo, which is located in Australia. And I'm not 100% certain though if this habitat is really made for the fennec foxes, but I wanted to use this habitat anyways as inspiration for this build. So we mostly used the outside shape of this building, as I couldn't find many pictures of this habitat. And you could also get like this glimpse of the inside walls, which look like it has some kind of red stone on it or something. So we also used this as inspiration for the indoor walls of this building, but the rest is basically, it's a different type of materials that I'm using. So it's definitely more in a City Zoo style with like the wood. Well, the wood is more, I don't know, more foresty a little bit, because this is just like the meerkat's habitat. It feels like a little bit more hidden inside of the trees and stuff. So it's definitely a combination with like the limestone from City Zoo and some wood to make it more natural and stuff. And I think it just really works well and just really nicely blends in into this area as well. So first things first, the building is a little bit circular or heavily round shaped. I'm not entirely sure how to call it. So we started off with like first creating one part of the wall, which would include a little piece of limestone to stay in the City Zoo style, as I just said, and a glass panel, which I will later be replacing with glass fences, because in all honesty, I do really like the glass fences, just the look of it a little bit more comparison to the glass panels. And the rest is mostly logs and the climbable thin beams from the habitat section. So with the logs and the beams, we create some kind of awning on the sides where the guests would stand. And on the other side, it's part of the roof of the habitat. Well, I say roof, but it's actually all open, but still it's a building. Maybe you can call it more of an aviary, I guess. But I'm just gonna call it building in this case. So the rest of the roof will be made with like mesh fences, which we also got with the latest free update, and some more logs to give shape to the roof building. So since the backside wasn't completely aligned with the grid, I created this backside wall myself with the limestone trims, which are just super useful for these kind of situations, so that works really well. And on top of that self-made wall of limestone pieces, we have this little gap, which we will also fill up with some more mesh fences in a later stage. So the backside of the habitat, as I just mentioned, will be covered with desert-colored faux rocks. I wasn't really sure if this would look super well, but I think it actually does, and also gives another great way of how you can use these great faux rocks from the aquatic pack. I do really love how this backside has turned out in the end. So once I had like this first section complete of the building, it was time to duplicate it and make a real building out of it. And as I said, it's like a little bit of a round shape. So with using the beams on the roof as like the point, I don't know. I tried to align it with those beams, and it actually worked really well, and it looks really nice, if I may say so myself. So as I mentioned earlier, this building will be very small. When I first placed the door, it was around 200 square meters or something like that. But I can't tell you the exact traversable area of the Fennec Foxes since I have all these settings turned off in sandbox mode. You can't really see that. I really wish that Frontier did not remove that completely. Like, just like the 100% welfare that we had, like, they just have 100% welfare, but you can still see all their settings. But for some reason, everything just vanishes. Like, you can't really see anything, any information if you turn it off, which is kind of frustrating. So I can't really tell, and I'm not going to turn it on and off all the time. I just don't feel like doing that. I'm too lazy for that. But I'm pretty sure with all the rocks we later add, it's a lot smaller than this 200 square meters, I'm guessing. So for the sides of the habitat, I also used the mesh fences and the limestone trims to create an interesting shaped wall to close both sides off. So I'm actually very happy with the simplicity, but it looks still quite interesting to have this inclined wall on the sides. I think it works just super well. And that is definitely also from the real life building that I use for inspiration of this. So once I finished the shape of the building, I put the building on its place where I wanted it to be. So this habitat is located on the backside of the meerkat's habitat. So the staff gate of this Fennec Fox habitat is also connected to the path section that is connected to the staff building behind the meerkat's habitat. So yeah, the keeper can feed both the Fennec Foxes and the meerkats from the same keeper's hut in this case. So in front of the building, we will have more fences to make sure that the gas won't be bothering the Fennec Foxes or knocking on the windows or whatever they do. As I said, I'm not really sure if this real life habitat was actually made for the Fennec Foxes and that this is really needed. I actually doubt it, but I just really like this concept of the habitat. So I added it anyways, and I think it just looks super well, even though it might not really be needed or anything like that. And just like the real life picture that I saw, I also added some African grass in between these new fences and the building itself, and I just think that looks just really nice. So first I wanted to create more of like a dead end at the path section for the Fennec Foxes, but I actually wanted it to be like this square path, like this ending point, but I just didn't get it right with the path too, unfortunately. So I later decided to actually extend this path section, which will later be used for the dingo habitat that we're going to create on the other side of this habitat to finish the Australia area. Because if you can think back, we have a kangaroo habitat a little bit further away here. So there is this big gap in the middle of this kangaroo habitat and the entrance, and that is where we now build the meerkat's habitat, now the Fennec Fox habitat, and the other open section will be filled for the dingo, so we can finish off the Australian area, because we actually did not add that last animal, the dingo, yet to finish the Australian area as well. But I will show that to you guys when this whole area is finished, and we also did the dingo habitat to show you guys how this whole entrance area is how it turned out, and hopefully you guys can get some inspiration out of that as well, just like from this habitat. Of course, I really do hope that this definitely feels something new that I at least have never built, so I do hope that I can inspire you guys with this habitat as well to do something similar like this. Like, this is definitely something that you see more often in zoos, not per se for Fennec Foxes, but in general, like these aviary buildings with like smaller animals and stuff. I do really hope that we get some more smaller animals in the future though, because I just really enjoy building these habitats. But even for monkeys and stuff, I can definitely see this also work for monkeys. But keep in mind to not use any climbable logs or anything, because I can see them climbing out of your habitat, with the Planet Zoo being the game with the climbable frames and stuff. That is definitely something to keep in mind. But I think this definitely works for a lot of different ideas. So do really hope that I can inspire you guys with this build as well. So on the inside of this habitat, I will create some kind of rock formation with a cave underneath, and also to make sure that the Fennec Foxes are able to walk on this rock formation, just like we did a little bit in Abaya Zoo, obviously. And since this habitat is pretty small, you obviously can't do too crazy, so it's good that you have like this upper layer as well for them to walk on, to give them some extra traversable area. But yeah, you can obviously not go super crazy with all the rocks and stuff. But I think like this bigger rock formation, I think it works super well for this habitat, and I'm really happy with even this small space, how this has turned out and how easy the fennec fox is able to traverse through this area. So it works all really well, to be honest. So one thing I didn't really keep in mind with building was water. So I had to put down the ugly water pipe somewhere in this habitat. So I decided to halfly hide it away in the rock formation, which actually makes it look okay, I guess. I have seen more people doing that also with the lovely zoo tours that we're doing, which give me so much inspiration. Thank you guys so much again that you guys enjoy it as much as I do. I really love it, and it really boosts my creativity for everything I do in Planet Zoo. So I'm just super happy that we are doing that, and it's helping me so much with my own builds as well. So I really hope it will do the same for you guys. And I also did hide away a small feeding plate under some rocks, and there's also a bamboo food enrichment item for Adam as well, of course, to get some food. And I also added the disco ball and the tennis ball in their habitat so they can play. And on top of the rock formation, I added this red herb sand thingy, blood herb sand thingy, which I always forget the name of, but you guys know what I mean, right? And I also added this log enrichment item, by the way. And man, as always, when doing these voiceovers, then I realized like, oh yeah, that's right. I should have added some African logs. I should probably just make like a note for myself or something like that and put it on my monitor so I will never ever forget like these African logs or the name of some certain type of trees or the name of some certain types of enrichment items. It's insane how much I keep forgetting sometimes, but yeah, I do hope that you guys still understand. But yeah, these African logs would have given the habitat just a little tiny tad more decoration, that little extra detail, I guess. So that would have been great. Maybe I will just add that later on, I guess. I, by the way, also really wanted to add the bubble machine in this habitat, but unfortunately the game just wouldn't let me place it. I guess it was just too small, and I think it just needs a little bit bigger radius around it, so I just really wasn't able to put it down, unfortunately. That was really a pity because I think the bubble machine and the fennec foxes would just be super adorable, but everybody put down all my rocks and stuff, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna bother to make space for it in the end. It's all right, I guess. So the rest of the habitat is obviously decorated with small aquatic rocks and some desert biome trees and bushes and some African grass, just to give the habitat a little bit more contrast and color, and I think it just looks really nice. If I look back to the real live building, I think you can definitely tell there is a lot of green in there, which I'm not really sure if that makes total sense with the fennec foxes, if that would be the real animal that is in there. But yeah, in the end, I just really do like the little bit of green that we have. It's not too much. I think mostly it's just the grass and just two trees, I think, and I sunk them down in the ground. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this whole habitat has turned out. And next to that, we also work on the outside area of this habitat, of course, which we all like to call filling in the gaps. And I know some of you really would like to see that. And as you could tell also with the footage, you can tell that on the backside, there were some rocks sticking out of the building. So yeah, I had to make sure that the guests would obviously not see that when they would be walking on the side of this building. So I made sure that the trees and the bushes are a little bit higher, so they basically hide away the ugliness of the backside of the building. So yeah, you need to hide away that ugliness if you have it, right? I also, by the way, did create some new billboards. In this case, only 2 educational signs. We don't have like this big educational area for the fennec foxes. But if you want to use these education signs yourself, you can find them and download them from my Discord server together with all the other billboards and webcams I have made so far. Every time that I make new ones, I will make sure that I will add them in my Discord server for you all to download. So you can find a link to my Discord in the description down below of every video. So yeah, without further talking, I do really hope that you guys will enjoy the rest of this speed build video. As I said, we're going to do a tour once we have also finished the dingo habitat and all the surroundings here to really finish off this right side area of the entrance. So yeah, stay tuned for that, of course. So at the end of this video, you guys will see some cinematic shots. So I do really hope you guys enjoy. Do let me know in the comments down below, of course, what you guys think of this new fennec fox habitat. and leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already, and if you want to see more Planet Zoo content, I definitely have you covered on the channel. And you can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all those other social media pages. So definitely go and check out the links in the description down below if you want to follow me on other social media pages as well. Thank you guys so much. And also, by the way, thank you guys so much for all your incredible support on the community wall post that I made for about last week. Really do appreciate it. It really did help, and it just really was heartwarming to see all your amazing comments. So thank you guys so much for that. Really do appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys!